Where's the oldest written version of the Quran?
It's the Birmingham manuscript, right?
No, you told me that's not.
The Birmingham manuscript is the oldest.
Come on, man.
Hey.
There's no other word that can be in there except for Malik or Mel.
Yes.
Only those two.
Right.
There's no contradiction in them.
Yeah. Well,
And
okay.
either way, I'm
If
going to
I-
recite to you.
Okay.
400 years later,
Wait. Okay.
I'm going to say to you,
Wait.
Malik or
Okay.
Malik.
So wait.
I'm gonna say to
All
you,
right.
Malik.
Now wait. Now. If I buy this, what does it make me?
It makes you an owner of an iPad.
Does it make me the king of the iPad?
Billions of Muslims don't realize that, and you
Yeah.
realize that.
Okay. Let me show you something.
The claim you made about Ibn Mas'ud's Mus'haf is wrong. He didn't have extra, there was two missing. He didn't write Al-Fatiha.
Reality matters.
Yeah. It didn't have it in. Why did he leave it
He
out?
mentioned why. It's even in his book, Kitab al-Masahif.
What does he say?
He mentioned that the reason why he didn't put Al-Fatiha is because if he put it, he would have put it before every single surah. But he mentioned that it's supposed to be part of the Quran. He mentioned it as a kitab, the mother of the book.
But then, okay. Wait 1 second. Hold
And
on.
this book mentions that when they compiled it, there's ijma', including Ibn Mas'ud.
But his students still use his codex. That's why you still have. Yeah, but that's why you still have, because he said for the sake of the ummah, that was the only reason. But he had to be called.
But he still believed that there was part of it.
But that's okay. But this is okay. But okay. Look. Okay, guys. Let's start from the beginning, right? Okay. Wait. Let's start from the beginning. My friend, let's start from the beginning. He said, you agree there's 7 recitations, 7 aruf. Did Uthman burn the Qur'ans? How many was there left when he burnt it? But wait. Let me just ask. How many? When? Wait.
Manuscripts that were the main manuscripts from which everything was copied.
Right. So then, when Uthman burnt all the Qur'ans, how many was left? There's what?
There's only the Uthmanic.
Right. So where did the other recitations come from? If he burnt all the other Qur'ans?
That's why we said Qira'at is different.
Yeah, but I'm saying, where did they come from? If he burnt all other copies and he only had one, where did the other ones come from?
The Prophet revealed it.
But Uthman burnt them after he revealed it. So then where did they come from again? If the Prophet revealed 7, Uthman burnt everyone.
It's like almost exactly the same, almost.
So what is the Qira'at?
Qira'at is recitation, that's different.
And what's the Aruf?
Araf is different from that.
What is it?
I'm not a scholar, the expert.
Okay. Are you aware that your scholars have all differed on what it means? According
You
to...
speak to those scholars,
Huh?
I'm not a scholar.
Yeah, but I'm saying, are you aware? So within the Islamic scholarship, there's no agreement as to what an Aruf and a Qira'ah is.
Qira'at, there is Araf, I don't know. But that's irrelevant, it doesn't matter.
Of course, because if it's preserved, you would have to know what it is to identify what has been preserved. If you don't know what something is, how can you say it's preserved?
But that depends on what the definition is.
Exactly. So I'm saying to you, give me the definition.
But to us, it's preserved, it doesn't matter.
So that's why I said to you, give me a scholar or give me where you're getting that definition from.
We don't need a definition. God said it.
But you just said according to your definition. So I said, where did you get that definition? So how can he say there's a definition? He said, according to our definition. What is the definition?
He doesn't know.
So how can he say there's a definition? There isn't one, is my point. That's why I'm saying to him, if he disagrees with me, give me the evidence.
Are you saying, what's the evidence for Qira'at?
He says so he's saying the Quran's been preserved according to the Islamic narrative. I said, give me a scholar or the Quran where it gives you the definition of what preservation is. Because I said all your scholars have disagreed about what the Qira'at and the Aruf is. So how can we say...
How they disagree? There's different versions of the Qira'at, 7 Qira'ats. There's 7 different readings.
But there's 10 as well.
There's 7 different readings.
Ibn Mujahid from 7, and there was another 3 that was agreed.
Okay, fine. I'm
Do you
not sure
agree?
of the names. I'm not sure of the names. I'm not going to agree with you.
Okay, do you agree with me there's a disagreement?
You know how they're preserved, right?
Huh?
It's preserved by the oral
But I'm
tradition.
saying, where's the definition?
evidence.
No, I'm saying what exactly? Yes. To say, if you're saying it's been preserved, then let me see what the definition of, according to the Islamic narrative, is from a scholar or the Quran.
Wait, so are you jumping from the You made a point about the Muslim.
Well, it's gonna. Yeah, no, it's yeah, okay. If you want to address it, that's fine. No, but it's because we've jumped a bit. No, I'm saying Muslims cannot claim perfect preservation or letter for letter, dot for dot. You see? Do you agree with him? Wait. You're knowledgeable. No, he's knowledgeable. He knows the scholarship. No, but he knows. Look, you've even got the book. But he knows. He's aware of what I'm aware. Is what I'm saying.
You're just talking about in a different of accents between Warsh and Hafs. So you're saying the Quran has not been preserved because of the different recitation.
I'm saying.
You know how we know? There's one way of preservation, right? Sorry, brother, to cut you off, right?
No, it's fine,
But basically, there is Qurans from the Eastern area, China area, to also to Western area, Western Asia, right? Or what you want to call parts of Europe, right?
Right.
At around the same time Sahabas went to, the Quran is the same. They have those Qurans in Medina.
Okay.
You know that, right?
Let me address that.
Do you know that?
Yeah, I'm aware. Okay, let me show you something. So now, guys, I'm just going to.
But did you accept what I said? You have to. Like,
I know. Yeah, there's a reason why they're the same.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, I'm going to tell you something about. You can all check this yourself. The Cairo edition of the Quran. You can go to Wikipedia. I'm going to read what it says.
I wouldn't trust them.
You can do your research.
He's from Cairo.
Are you from Egypt?
Yeah.
Okay. So it says. Let me get to the good part. This is Wikipedia. But you can research it. If you disagree, come back to me. But I'm just going to use Wikipedia as a starting point. No, but what I'm going to read to you is why you have a standardized Quran. Wait.
No. We have it in Arabic. You don't understand it.
Where was the standardized? Where was the standardized?
It's not a standardization.
You read in every
already
Quran.
there.
You read in every Quran.
But you know it was a standardized.
Yeah.
Already there from before.
Okay. What was put there from before?
That is the one that
No. Qurats exist. My brother, different Qurats exist today.
No, standardization. The standardization of the Quran.
Yes.
That's why I want to show you.
The other one,
Way it was standardized.
Okay. Let me read it so you can hear.
Man of Affan collected it, put it together. They have a problem. Plainly,
Let me read, and you can all check when you go home and do your research. So, this is from Wikipedia. No, but I'm saying you can research your own sources. But you can research your own sources. What I'm saying is, if you disagree with it, my friend, if I read it out and you disagree, can you research it yourself? And then you can come back to me and say this is what it should actually be, is what I'm saying.
Go and research on someone did it, so I don't need to go and research because I know it's a camera.
But this is the whole point. What I'm saying is actually a fact and all scholars know it. You don't. So my point is, what is actually happening is I'm telling you that's a camera and you're saying, no. That's what I'm saying. No, it's the other way around. Anyway, I'm going to read it.
Translate the name. Nobody has the right to change the name.
Yeah.
My name is Abdullah. I can't go to Jewish people and say to me,
My point is there's a lie that's been said that every Quran is letter for letter, dot for dot the same, and the Quran has been perfectly preserved. So my point is to demonstrate that this is a blatantly false lie. That's what my point is.
Now the lie's been exposed.
Huh?
Now the lie's been exposed
Right.
here today. Now what?
Then now what? People will not propagate that lie anymore.
Okay.
Because we are. Wait. Let me read what I'm going to say. Now this is. Wait. Let me wait.
where does it differ? You're going to say?
Wait. So this is from Wikipedia.
Use your critical thinking faculty.
Yes. Look. Wait. So it says. Wait. Let me read it.
Okay. Let
No, I know. I'm aware of this. So
You're
look.
aware that I can go into Wikipedia.
Wait. I know. I can find an official source, but I'm just doing it for summary purposes. So it says. A committee of leading professors from Al-Azhar University, which you know in Egypt, had started work on the project in 1907, but it was not until 10th of July in 1924 that the Cairo Quran was first published by Amiri Press under the patronage of Fuad I of Egypt. As such, it is sometimes known as the Royal Editions. The goal of the government of the newly formed Kingdom of Egypt was not to delegitimize the other qira'at, but to eliminate that which the colophon labels as errors found in Quranic texts used in state schools. To do this, they chose to preserve one of the 14 qira'at readings, namely that of Hafs, student of Asim. Its publication has been called Terrific Success, and the edition has been described as one now widely seen in official texts of the Quran. So popular amongst both Sunni and Shia that the common belief among less well-informed Muslims is that the Quran has a single unambiguous reading, i.e. that of the 1924 Cairo version. Minor amendments were made later. So my point was, when you talk about China and Egypt, the reason why they're the same is because there was a standardization, which now 90% of Muslims use the Hafs version. So what happened, let me just finish, was what happened in state schools in Egypt is that students were coming up with different answers based on the different readings. And because it caused too much confusion, they decided to standardize the Quran. So they used the Hafs one as the de facto one. So that's what was published and went around Saudi Arabia and around the world. So that's why when Muslims read and they hear someone in a different country hearing the same thing, they think it's a preservation. No, but it's down to the standardization of the text. That's why they're not always aware. Exactly. But that's why they're not aware of the other readings, is what I'm trying to say.
But you know what the other readings are, bro?
Yes.
You know why there was other readings?
Yes. Well, according to scholarship, according to your hadith, Muhammad said there was 7 aruf, 7 recitations.
Yeah, why were there 7 recitations?
Why?
Yeah, why? Yeah. So we've established there's 7.
Yes.
But why were there 7?
Well, the scholarship disagrees from the Islamic narrative.
No, they don't.
Okay, so
We're in complete agreement of why there's different ones. The reason why there's different ones is because there were different dialects of the
Right.
Arabic language. So at that time, when they were reciting the Quran, when the Quran had actually been finished,
right,
the dialect in Yemen
right,
was very different from the dialect in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
They were talking actually, like some of the letters they would replace them completely. So you'd have something like the ha would be a lamb. Yeah? So then any word that would have a ha in it, you'd have to change it to a lamb and it would sound different.
okay. And it caused disputes amongst some of the Muslims because they heard the Quran being recited differently.
I've never heard that it caused disputes. I've never heard that it caused disputes. The only thing that I've heard is that they understood that, okay, this is a Yemeni guy.
Okay.
He speaks in this way.
Right.
But what he's saying, the words that he's saying, is exactly the same word that he's saying here, but it's in his different dialect. Now, somebody at that time from Habash, from Somalia at that time, I think, Habash, Ethiopia, they had a completely different dialect. So it sounds like...
Right. So now let me ask you this: where did the dialect originate from?
The original dialect.
Yeah.
Because it's spread around to different countries, right? And then
Yeah.
picked up their recitation.
So you're saying they were just changing the Quran recitation?
No, they weren't changing.
So that's why I said, where did it come
The
from?
original dialect
Yeah.
would be the original what
Was the Quraysh dialect?
What Rasul ﷺ would recite to the people.
Right.
Yeah, and what they would memorize. So I would say
Right.
something to you, you'd repeat that exact same
Right.
thing.
So what
That's the
dialect? But wait,
that's the dialect.
just so we start
That
just to interject. What dialect did your prophet speak?
is what
It was Quraysh.
Is what
Quraysh is the tribe.
Yeah.
Quraysh is the tribe he's from.
Yeah.
The family of the
So
tribe.
that was a dialect they would have spoken, right?
is the Quran.
Because that's where he's
I don't know
from.
what the name of the dialect was spoken at the
Okay,
time.
but let's just say
he's
it was
from those
Quraysh.
people.
But let's just say from those people.
We can assume that, yeah, fine.
Let's just give it a name, Quraysh.
We
Right.
can't do that. We can't do that.
Okay,
I know
no
what
problem.
you're
Let
saying.
me
I know what you're
simplify.
saying.
Okay.
So
But-
what
but
your
let me just
question-
interject.
The answer to your
Okay,
question
right.
is which one was it? Is what you see is the mainstream Quran today.
Right. So this is
And,
my.
and however you hear that being
So-
recited in most mosques today, that's what it was.
But this is what I'm saying. This is not true. But let's go with that. If if the prophet revealed the Quran in one dialect, right?
No, he didn't.
Right, okay, no.
He revealed in multiple qira'ats.
Okay, no problem. Multiple. We'll go with 7
Okay.
as the hadith. Now, did Uthman burn the Qurans?
Yes.
So when he had one left, how many qira'ats were in that one? Because he only had one.
Still the multiple number.
How would it all be in the one Quran?
Because, my brother, there's no words different. The words are not actually different. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the words are different. There's something called, is it tanween? What not tanween?
The diacritical mark.
Yeah, the diacritical. What do you call them in Arabic? What are the words? Anyway, they're basically vowels.
Right.
Right? Yeah, and then sometimes you extend
The vowelization, yes.
Like we say Maliki Yawmiddin,
Yes.
Maliki Yawmiddin,
Yeah.
or Maliki Yawmiddin.
So you're saying that?
So you have to understand also that originally
That's two different
you didn't
readings.
have
right?
those.
That's two different readings, right? If you read it, if you look on paper without the vowels, it's the same thing. But you can read it two different ways.
Yeah.
And if you read it two different ways, it's actually two different meanings
Right.
that complement each other. One
Right.
is the owner.
Yeah.
Right? Maliki Yawmiddin, right? One is the owner and one is the king.
Yeah.
One is the king.
Yeah.
Nothing goes against each other.
You see, back in the day though, when this first was revealed, you
Yeah,
didn't
but
have
this
that.
is-
You
this
didn't have
is-
those vowels.
Exactly.
You didn't have the dots.
We didn't have
Right.
that.
That's
They
why I
came
said
much
where
later.
did the vowel, the pronunciation come? Because if there was no dots, because you need the dots for the.
We need it. We need it. We need it.
We need the Arabic didn't need no dots.
Yeah,
Actually, if
we
you
knew
send
we
somebody
needed
a
dots.
letter,
He
you know,
doesn't
back
need
in the
it.
day,
He knew.
if you send somebody, no, I still need them.
Alright,
If you send somebody a letter back in the day with dots on them,
Right.
it's a declaration of war.
So are you aware that some of the early Sahaba were quarreling, who were from the same tribe, about the pronunciation? And that's when they went to the Prophet, and that's why he said.
I never heard quarreling.
Yeah,
I've never heard the word
I
quarreling.
wouldn't use the word
I never heard the word quarreling.
I haven't. 'Cause-
I wouldn't use the word quarrel.
I need to see the hadith.
Yes.
Everything's preserved for us, right?
Let me.
But even if they were, they might have some disputes, right?
Yeah.
Because there was one hadith where the Prophet ﷺ was talking to a particular person from a tribe,
Yeah.
and he said some different words. You
In
can't
his-
remember,
in his dialect.
And then the
In that
Sahaba,
Yemeni dialect.
was like, "What's this guy saying?" And the Prophet ﷺ replied to him in his dialect. Did you hear what I said?
Wait. Sorry.
All right.
Let me just.
Can't do two
That's
things
what
at
I'm
once.
talking about.
Yeah.
The difference in the
Give me
Yemeni
1
dialect.
second.
I'm saying. Are you Christian or atheist or something? What's
Christian.
your background?
Christian,
yeah?
yeah.
Okay.
JC, do you have the hadith when they were disagreeing about the recitation of the Quran and they had to go to Muhammad? Do you remember that one?
Seven different modes or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Don't talk. He seems genuinely interested. Are you genuinely interested, or are you just trying to shut down Islam? Like attempting, or are you genuinely interested?
I'm all of the
finding
above. I'm all of the
Trying to
above.
find the truth.
Yeah, but I want you to find the truth as well.
Inshallah.
I'll be becoming Paperboy.
What's your name? What's your name?
Paperboy, that's
Sure.
what my nickname.
Paperboy.
Is it your first time here?
No, I live in London, but I live in another country. I'm
Okay.
from London, but I live
Okay.
in another country.
So yeah, expand on your point that you were saying.
What was the point we finished on? Sorry, apologies.
About the dialects.
Yeah, we're saying dialects. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So the Prophet ﷺ came to somebody, a village person, and he said something to him in Arabic, and the other Sahaba with the Prophet ﷺ were like, "What did he just say?" And the Prophet ﷺ responded in that dialect.
Okay, yeah. No, where they dragged him by the neck to the Sahab. I forget who it was. With it off, the two Sahabas were fighting about how they had heard the recitation of the.
There's no dispute though, Paperboy. Yeah, there's no dispute.
In what sense?
There's no dispute on this in the early Sahabas. There's no evidence of that. There was dispute. They understood the different qira'ats. They all learned the different qira'ats. And let me tell you one thing. I went to Saudi Arabia in December. Right?
Yeah.
I went to Mecca, and I went and I saw how they actually do. You got to listen to this though.
Yeah.
You're tapping away. I won't be
Okay,
have to
go
speak,
on.
right? So I went to the Mecca and I looked at how the oral tradition continues.
Yeah.
And I saw one person receive it. They have to go to a school or with a sensei, what about a teacher who's read this thousands and thousands of times with his own teacher before he gets a certificate.
Right.
And once he gets the certificate, I've got it on my phone somewhere, and it shows you from the Prophet ﷺ was given to this person, right? And then it was given to this person, and then it was given to this person, and then after I think it's 33 where we're at right now, roughly 33rd in the chain.
Yeah.
This person receives it from this teacher after he's read thousands and thousands of times, and then he did the khatam, which is the finishing of the Quran, and then after that he got a certificate. I witnessed it, I saw it. So that's how the oral tradition is preserved. Once you've done that, you can do a different kirat if you want to. What you
Okay.
got one here? Does that make sense?
Yes, it's a modern practice now, but the problem is no. But let me finish. No, but let me finish. Let me finish.
what he said?
Yeah, I
It's the
know.
time of the Prophet
You didn't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm saying when you go back to the early history of Islam, it wasn't as a robust
What do you mean
system
early
as that.
history? What do you mean early
So,
history?
for example,
What do you mean early history?
the Quran that you read today,
Yeah.
which the most common one is the Hafs recitation.
Okay.
According
I
to
need to double check
scholars,
that, make sure,
the,
I don't know that.
the earliest manuscript we can find is about the 4th century
Okay.
maybe-
And the manuscript of what?
of the Hafs Quran.
Of the 4th century?
Yeah, it's quite very late.
4th century that Islam wasn't even existing.
No, so as in the 4th century of
Hijri.
yeah. So it comes very late because what the point is, if man standardized the Quran, if that was because people used the parchments and the oral, what we should find would be early evidence that people were using that as a mainstream recitation. So if we only find, we have earlier manuscripts than the 4th century, for 4th century Hijra.
Okay.
But none of them,
Islamic manuscripts.
yeah.
Okay.
But none of them, the early ones, conform to the ones that you're using. So even though it's popular now, that's why I say the standardization. So I'm saying now, people can say, oh, so. I'm trying to say in the earlier centuries of the Hijra, we do not see that same consistency. There was a lot of confusion in terms of even the canonization, the official 7 Qur'an came about 600 years after Hijra. It was very late. Ibn Mujahid.
The 7 Qur'an came 600 years after
Let me
Hijra.
find it.
How can that be
Yeah.
so?
Let me.
Prophet recited the different Qur'ans.
Okay, look. Let me hold on.
You can't use Wikipedia as your sources to learn Islam.
I can use.
I'm not attacking you. I'm
Yeah.
because you seem genuine. You want to learn, but you can't be using Wikipedia to look for Islamic things, right?
Anyone
Honestly,
can
you
go onto
cannot.
Wikipedia and
You
change
cannot.
The only reason I use it is I know it's
not
for
attacking you. I'm
summarization.
just saying, yeah, I understand, but you need to go to Islamic sources online, bro.
Okay.
I want to ask you because you keep mentioning that scholars have said this. What
Yeah.
scholars are they?
So in terms of, for example, what the difference between Aruf and Qira'at are, which Muslims keep appealing to, Al-Qurtubi, very prominent Islamic scholar from maybe about the 10th, 11th century, I'm not sure, basically said there's about 30, 40 different definitions of what the difference is, because scholars, even from Al-Tabari, I don't know if you're aware of what Al-Tabari is, he couldn't agree on what the exact definition was. So in early history of Islam, the early scholars used to say preservation was from corruption from the jinns and whatnot. They didn't say it was, no one said...
Preservation was from the jinns.
As in...
Corruption was from the jinns.
No, as in the Quran is preserved from their interference. They'd
Quran is preserved from jinn interference.
Yeah, that's what they understood.
I've never heard that in my life.
Al-Tabari. No one ever said... So,
Imam Tabari. I've never heard that in my life.
And look this up, you don't have to take my word for it, but no scholar, early scholar said it meant the letter for letter, dot for dot preservation of the text, the textual stability of the recitation.
Okay,
they
so
all differ
can I ask you a
depend
question, though?
upon what the meaning was.
My friend, but what's the point here? Like,
what's the point you're trying to do?
what's
Yeah.
the point of refuting that there's a mainstream qira'ah for the Quran? Let's say that there's 7 and the 7 are mainstream. What's the point? Like,
Because-
have you found the contradiction in the Quran?
Yeah, because
exactly.
the first point is we're all here to discuss truth.
Okay.
So when people make an argument for Islam saying the evidence of a miracle, the perfect preservation, or Allah's a miracle
preservation.
is the perfect preservation of the Quran.
Okay.
So then I have to address that and say what is preservation, and basically take apart that notion that this is actually a false notion.
No,
because
now I want you to take
let me
it-
just finish.
I want to take it to the end.
Yeah, but let me just finish.
You
Let me just
refuted the
let me just
preservation.
finish. As my gentleman has said, if you go to China and you go to Saudi Arabia, it's the same. So he was under that same impression, which I think a lot of Muslims have been lied to, and that's how they've sold Islam on the perfect preservation.
Let's
So
say
at
we've been
least
lied
to have honest conversations, we need to talk about what actually happened.
But how,
Okay, no, it's okay. That's fine.
but okay, so what actually happened? Wait, hold on. So do you know what actually happened?
So in terms of the early years of Islam, there was a lot of disagreements because you had, for example, and you can look this up,
Talking about the time of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
just afterwards, after
Just
he
after he
died.
died.
The time of the Khalifa
Okay.
Rashid.
Yeah, of
Abu Bakr,
of Uthman. So around the
Abu Bakr was right after.
so the time of Uthman, there was disagreements
You're
because
talking a couple of generations.
yeah. So when Uthman compiled the Quran, there was disagreements as what should the Quran should be.
Okay.
For example, there were several companions that had different amounts of surahs in their Qurans.
Okay.
One of the most prominent was Ibn Masud, and there was a very big disagreement between Ibn Masud. And this is why, because if you had Uthman standardize the Quran and have one, and that's why I asked you where did the dialects come from.
Hold on, but look, there's one point here that we need to address though.
Right.
You said that there was a dispute and like some Sahabas had different number of ayat.
Surahs.
Surahs. So whole chapters.
Yeah, some had 114, some had 116. So some of the du'as were included in
No, you say some of the du'as.
yeah, were
Okay, so-
included.
okay, so-
that's why they had 116. Ibn Masud
So,
had
okay,
116.
so do we have a copy of this 116 Surah Quran?
No, that's lost.
We don't
But
have
it's
that
in
anymore.
Islamic text.
Okay, so some Islamic text refers to it,
The scholars, yeah. So some of
but
your
we don't have it today.
no,
We have the 114 today.
yes.
Everywhere is 114. Nobody has any more, any less.
In terms of some of the manuscript, because remember we don't. In terms of old manuscript, you don't have the complete Quran. It might be pages. So, for example, you have the Birmingham manuscript. I don't know if you're aware of that. That's like the oldest.
Okay, is that 114 surahs?
It's just a parchment. It's just a page. It's the oldest extant
What, it's just-
Quran that we
Are you
have.
saying it's just a parchment?
Birmingham manuscript is the oldest Quran we have.
Yeah.
There was nothing around called Birmingham at that time, bro.
No, but that's where it's stored.
Are you saying that's what, the one that they
No,
got from
that's
Turkey?
what they call it.
You're saying that's the one that they got from Turkey? The
British.
No, that's the
Birmingham.
Is it?
Is that what you're saying?
I don't know.
But it's
no,
okay,
because
listen,
you've got the
We have
cash.
very old
No,
manuscripts in
it's
the
okay,
Prophet's
it's
mosque.
okay.
You know that? Which you
Yeah.
can't go to. You're not allowed to go there, but they have it in there. Muslims can go there and see.
Hold on.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how old that one is.
Hold
No,
on,
but
let
that's
me-
where it's
let
stored.
me-
That's why
let me
it's
get.
called
I'm trying to
Birmingham.
get.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the gist of what you're trying to say.
Right.
So this manuscript that you're telling me is in Birmingham is just parchment. Are you saying it
Yes.
hasn't separated the surahs?
No,
don't
because
know.
it's not complete Quran.
It's not complete.
This is even if I'm not going to say anything about the Sahaba because I don't know, right?
Right.
But even if someone was to make a mistake at the time, who was leading at that time?
In what time?
Who was leading at the time? You're saying that these
Uthman.
discrepancies take place. Who?
Are you saying the time of
Yeah,
Uthman?
exactly. Who was it? Who was signing off on this?
Uthman?
Yeah, and who was this man?
Huh?
Who was this man?
Yeah, he was the caliph.
And what was his name? What are they collectively named?
Yeah.
Rashidin.
The rightly
Don't
guided
give me the
one.
answer.
The rightly guided one.
Yes.
Yes.
So they are allowed to make those decisions at the time.
Right.
Because they have been rightly guided by the Prophet ﷺ himself, right?
How does that affect us today?
well, hold
is
on.
what I'm trying to get to.
Did he receive divine revelation?
Who received the revelation?
Uthman.
No.
So who was guiding
He
him?
he held the revelations, of course. The Prophet ﷺ received the revelation.
Right.
No one but the Prophet.
So he
ﷺ
doesn't have the authority to then.
Of course he has the authority.
On what
That's what he's
sense?
trying to say.
He's the
He's trying to say that
Rashidun,
what he's saying is
The four
because
rightly
they are
guided caliphs.
because they are the rightly guided caliphs,
Right.
they have the authority to make those decisions.
course.
Just like today, if something new comes up that they didn't have back in that day, we have scholars that are allowed to make judgments on these situations, like cigarettes, for example. You
Right.
didn't have cigarettes at the time of the Prophet, so how do you make a decision on whether cigarettes are forbidden or not?
Yeah.
Or you have
digital
people-
AI stuff
but
nowadays.
here,
digital
but then
AI
here,
stuff, you have scholars that are
but
allowed
then
to
here
make
comes the problem
that
because
decision.
there were multiple versions.
You're allowed to disagree.
Yeah, but there was
Scholars
because
are allowed to disagree with each
but
other.
because some of the companions had different versions of the Quran, and even with different surahs.
They disagreed on some issues.
And so, for example, the case of Ibn Masud, he didn't want to give up his codex. The only reason he did it, he didn't want to give up his codex was he had it written down.
At the end of the day, he did.
Because for the unity of the, because of the unity.
Yeah, but these guys weren't the rightly guided caliphs.
But here's the problem. So after he gave his up, his students still used his version. This is where you actually get the variance in the recitations
So
from.
students of Ibn Masud still use it.
Yes.
So,
So that's why
deviants.
no.
They are deviants.
Well, that's
They're
why-
deviating
but
from
that's
the
where-
original. It's literally the definition, right?
Okay.
They deviated from the norm, right? Am I
Actually,
correct?
yeah, no.
Paperboy, come on, let's be honest.
Actually,
I like you
I'm gonna
because you seem
I'm gonna
honest,
actually
right?
make an easier
Let's
point
discuss
for
it,
you.
bro. Let's discuss this.
Yeah, I'm gonna
They're
slightly.
deviating. They're deviating.
I want to discuss.
Wait, but I
how
want to
this-
slightly change
What I want to
the-
discuss is how this point. Let's say you've got all of these deviant versions of the Quran.
Right.
How does that affect us today?
Because and this is why I started in terms of if your belief is based on you believe that the Quran is a miracle because of the preservation, that is one. There may be other. Let's say there's 5 pillars. I know not the Islamic 5 pillars, but let's just say four main. Let's say five main aspects. If that is one, then it can't be used anymore because we've now looked at them. So then it would.
I'm not going to use that anymore.
Yeah.
Are you trying to refute? Are you trying to refute the whole Quran because of that one point?
Well,
is that what we're doing here?
No, I'm starting off with the preservation only.
Okay.
There's other areas.
What's your end game, my friend? Are you trying to say the Quran is not divine because of that point?
No, not because of that point.
Because of other points with that?
I would say the Quran is not divine because Muhammad is not a prophet. That is what the argument I would make. So if I'm talking about the preservation, that's not got nothing to do with Muhammad's a prophet or not. Exactly. Yeah? That's what I'm saying. You said what was my objective.
Then what's the point of refuting the preservation of the Quran?
Because if people keep telling me that, I'm not going to listen. And this is Speaker's Corner, for example. I'm not going to take it as the truth when I know it's not the truth.
Okay, so what if I tell you that the Quran was not preserved through written ways?
Well, you would be appealing to an oral tradition which we have no evidence for. So I would say the claim. But he's going to say oral tradition.
Yeah,
but I cannot go to the 1st century and ask someone to recite it.
Because you weren't there.
So we don't have empirical evidence.
You weren't there,
But the only evidence that we have is the written one, which disagrees with the oral tradition.
But is it not an evidence, for me to tell you that the evidence of there being an oral tradition, of my oral tradition of me saying something to Shah over here, my evidence that this was preserved orally is that somebody on the other side of the park says the exact same thing that I just said to Shah.
But hold on. But we started with that, and that's why I went to the Cairo edition of the Quran to explain why we came to that understanding.
I'm saying something to Shah now. I'm saying it's like Chinese whispers.
Yes.
I'm telling him, go around, all of these people said the exact same sentence. I'm going to come back a week later. I'm going to get somebody from the other side of the park, and I'm going to tell them to tell me the exact same sentence. And if they come back with the exact same sentence, would that not be evidence to you that this was preserved?
No, but that's why you missed what I said. That's why I said when you spoke about Saudi Arabia, I said yes, for now it's a very robust system. But that cannot be applied to the early centuries because when we look at the evidence, it's in complete disagreement. So 2 people agreeing today is not evidence that in the 2nd century of Hijrah they agreed.
Let me take you another step there. So say I say something to Shah today, and then 50 years down the line, somebody repeats the exact same sentence.
Yes.
Would that be oral preservation?
You could argue yes.
No, I don't want to hear you.
No, let's just say yes.
I want to hear
let's just say yes.
Why let's just say yes, man?
Yeah, I'm going to say.
What did your mind just tell you?
I'm going to say.
What did your mind just tell you?
I'm going to. But for simplicity, I'll say yes. But the problem is.
Not for simplicity. I don't want simplicity.
I'll tell you why. For simplicity, because when we go back to the past. My friend, bro. No, Muslim. Come. Chill. Sabr. Yeah, so as I was saying,
I've got to the point.
Yeah, but his point was, but this is the problem. He said if we go 50 years in the future, I'm saying when we go 50 years in the past, it's the opposite. So if in the future it means it's preserved, if we go 50 years before and it's not, then it means it's not preserved.
Hold on.
I'm just using the inverse.
Hold on. Okay, I'm using the inverse now as well.
Okay, go on.
I gave you the future one to prove you the past one.
No, you can't do that.
I'll tell you how. The past one, where's the oldest written version of the Quran?
It's the Birmingham manuscript, right?
No, you told me that's not.
The Birmingham manuscript is the oldest.
Come on, man.
Just another day at Speaker Squad.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon, but I'm gonna have to go. But are you here next week?
Where's the? I don't know, man. I don't like coming here and getting dragged into these debates.
Okay.
Listen. So where's the oldest complete version of
It's the
Quran?
Birmingham, right?
No, it's not the Birmingham because you just told me it's not.
Manuscript
it's not,
of the Quran.
You just told me it's not complete.
It's the Birmingham.
You
What about
told me
the?
it's not complete.
Oh no, it's not complete. No.
Then it can't be the
Okay,
version
what's
of the Quran, bro.
the complete Quran?
Complete.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm
telling you,
not the full Quran. I don't know.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get that complete version of the Quran,
Right.
and you're gonna find that it's the exact same words that somebody in China is reciting
Would you agree with
today.
that?
Yeah, but
and
listen,
it was written when? And it was written when?
I don't know. That's what I'm
You
saying.
just told me like 400,
No,
400 years after
No, but
Hijrah, bro.
listen to what I
So you're
said.
talking like 1,000 years ago.
No, listen to
So
what.
1,000 years ago, something was written, and today I'm reciting the exact same thing.
No, but
Is
listen.
that not proof of
Yeah,
preservation through
but
oral
we would have
tradition?
to listen to. First of all, I appeal to the Birmingham manuscript.
Did you hear my
right?
question?
Yeah, but I'm answering. But listen to what I'm saying.
You can't appeal to something that's not complete, bro.
Yeah, let me answer and listen to what I'm saying. I appeal.
what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I appeal to the Birmingham manuscript. He said he
not complete.
Wait, chill.
That's not Quran, bro.
Chill. Let's be like the Fonz. Now, I appeal to the Birmingham manuscript. He said it's not a complete Quran.
Okay.
So then he said, what is the earliest complete Quran?
Yes.
I said, I don't know off the top of my head. I asked him, he doesn't.
Yeah.
So he's saying the earliest Quran is the same as today. If I don't know what that is, how can I agree with that statement? Is basically what I was getting to. Because we would have to look at what that is, then compare it to make to answer that question.
Why are the manuscripts relevant though?
Because I'm saying people, Muslims, appeal to the oral tradition.
Yeah.
We do not have any empirical evidence to support the oral tradition. It's just take my
I've
word
already
and
told
believe
you.
it.
You want to see it? Let me
But
show you.
wait,
I'll show you right now.
so when we look at the manuscript
That's
evidence,
one single sheet of parchment. I want.
it's all,
Evidence isn't
Wow,
relevant.
like, that's like
of course it
None
is.
of them have scribe words in them. That's not an evidence.
Yeah, but then you don't have any evidence apart from trust me, bro.
Where'd you get that from?
Because when you say we have oral tradition, can I go to the 2nd century after Hijrah Muslim and get him to recite? So then what's my evidence?
It keeps bringing me up this Birmingham thing.
When it comes to oral tradition, can oral tradition be tested?
No, exactly.
Look,
You said it can't be tested.
No, you
You've got
can't.
the Blue Quran, written in the late 9th century.
Yeah.
Early 10th century.
When's that?
Arabic, 9th century and 10th century, bro.
That's like 300
like-
years to 200 years.
From now. No, 10th century.
Yes.
We're on the 21st century.
Yeah, so that's 200
So that's
years
1,000
after.
years, bro.
Yeah, the Quran.
That's 1,000 years ago.
Muhammad was the 7th century. So 9th
So
century.
200 years after
Yeah.
Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's when that was. So you're talking about
But does
1,200
it-
years ago.
but does-
So you're talking about 1,200 years ago. Something that I'm reciting today was
Right.
written 1,200 years ago.
So I'm saying, have you seen that to look that it's exactly the same? And you're assuming, as that's my point, you're assuming that the letters and the way it's written
We
is
need
exactly
to do
the
some
same.
traveling then, bro.
Well, that's what I'm
So
saying.
I'll tell you what, why don't you...
That's
you book-
all I'm saying.
You book the tickets.
No, you
Let
can
me
look
know when you
online
wanna
though.
go,
No,
and
but
we'll go, man.
what I ask you to do is, because you can normally see these manuscripts online.
It's in Tunis, isn't it?
Right, so this one doesn't even have the diacritical marks, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't like...
was not written with
I know,
diacritical.
but the recitation, and the qiraat are based on the. Yeah.
I understand what your dispute is.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't have the dots.
How do you read
And we
it?
need the dots.
Yes.
Then
Arab
how
people
do
don't need it, I'll be
how
honest
do
with
I
you.
make sure
People who speak
that
Arabic
I'm
probably-
reading that transcript correctly?
Thank you very much.
And how is it the same
Very
as what I'm
simple.
reading
Different
now?
ways of reading it, that's the point.
Yeah, but it has to be according to what you believe the 7 aruf.
Here's the mad thing.
Yeah, the
Here's-
well, there's aruf and qiraat, and there's no agreement between what the relationship between the two is.
Here's the thing, bro. Here's
So
the
you
thing,
have
brother.
something called.
Brother, here's- I'll tell
Let
you
me just.
why you know this.
Let me just address him, and then I'm
Okay,
going
go
to
on.
let you respond. There's something called aruf,
Okay,
and there's something called qiraat.
okay.
There is no exact definition of what the relationship between the
that's
two
irrelevant.
is.
There isn't.
Paperboy.
Huh?
That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
I know.
But let me explain
I
to
know,
you.
I know.
Let me
There
explain
isn't.
to you
Yeah.
how this here without the dots.
Well,
So
let
brother,
him, and then you,
so
and then. Just
You
for
know how when you read the English now,
right.
you don't need all of the letters in the middle. You know
Okay.
how
Yeah,
you
you
know how
can
they
read-
can be jumbled up.
Yeah.
But you need the first letter and the last letter to read the word.
Yes.
Yeah? And you read it correctly as you're reading it.
Yeah.
But all the letters in the middle could be jumbled up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You read it. Why do you read it correctly? Because it's the only way that it makes sense in English.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in the same way, the Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
The only way that that word is going to make sense in that sentence
Mm-hmm.
is if that word is read in that way.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why you don't need those dots, because however way you put those dots in that word,
Yeah.
it has to make sense with the sentence.
Okay.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Right.
There's only one word that's going to fit there.
Okay.
And that's why they didn't need any dots. And that's why you can bring anybody now that's got that high level of Arabic, can still read without the dots, and will still read that correctly the same way that I'm reading it.
But they won't read it exactly the same. Some people
No,
will.
there might be slight differences.
Right.
But there will never be a contradiction.
It's no different word.
You get what I'm trying to say?
That's a new.
No,
the contradiction.
You
yeah,
don't understand
yeah.
what I'm saying then.
No, I understand,
You see-
but contradiction is a different
No, it's
topic.
because- look, it's like you said before. There's a difference between Malik and
Yes,
Malik.
right.
Yeah. But there's no other word that can be in there except for Malik or Malik.
Yes.
Only those two.
Right.
There's no contradiction in them, is
Yeah.
there?
Well,
And
okay.
either way, I'm
If
going
I-
to recite to you.
Okay,
400 years later,
wait, okay.
I'm going to say to you,
Wait,
Malik
okay.
or Malik.
So
I'm
wait.
gonna say to you
All
one
right.
of the
Now
two.
wait. Now, if I buy if I buy this, what does it make me?
Makes you an owner of an iPad.
Does it make me the king of the iPad?
It makes you the owner of the iPad.
But does it make me the
It
king?
makes you, hold on, it makes you the king of that iPad.
Hold on.
No, come on now.
Bro.
Wait,
Thing is,
wait.
you're a man, you're a human.
Yeah.
King can be applied to God, like regardless.
Yeah.
He's the king of everything.
But
that
what's
there is.
what's your dispute here with the word king?
No, but I'm saying king and owner is not. This, you're trying to say they're synonymous.
Hold on.
No, they're not interchangeable.
They can be used,
No, hold on,
yeah.
hold on. They're not interchangeable, but they complement each other.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's okay.
Yes or no?
Right.
If that's part of the beauty of the Quran, it can have both meanings.
No problem. I don't have a problem with
Look,
that. I don't have a problem with that.
here's-
But
here's-
again, but
Here's-
yeah.
here, there's a verse in the Quran
Right.
that says if you took the oceans of the world
Right.
and turned them into ink
Right.
and started writing with them, that ocean
Yeah.
will run out before the words of Allah will run out. Even if we bring another ocean like it. Yeah? Do you understand what that means?
No.
That means that every word in
Right.
that Quran, you're going to bring out so much. But brother, just the 7 verses of Al-Fatiha,
Right.
scholars will spend 8-9 hours explaining to you what that means. Why? I'm only reciting that in maybe 30 seconds.
Right.
Tops.
So if the
why are
Qur-
they taking 9 hours to explain?
But then if the Quran says
Why
it's a
are-
clear book, why would you
why
spend
are-
9 hours?
No, it's clear. It's clear. What's your question?
bro.
He said
Yeah, I heard
scholars,
you say, but I'm listening to
but I'm
you.
saying if the Quran says it's a
I think you're going off at a tangent.
No, but I'm-
Listen,
All right.
listen. Here's the fact. yeah?
let's last 5 minutes and we'll wrap up.
Clear and depth
All
are
right.
two different
When the
things. It
Quran-
can be clear, but you can also have a lot of depth if you're going to go into it.
Okay, when
But if they have different
let that
interpretations.
when the
Okay.
Quran was compiled,
Right.
Uthman,
Yes.
yeah? Simple. They did 5 copies and sent them out.
Now, before
Oh, wait.
wait. I just want
Finish.
to ask one question for emphasis. Was it in different dialects or was it in one dialect when they sent
No,
it
he's
out?
using one
No,
dialect.
it's
He's using
okay.
one dialect.
It's those were without the diacritical marks.
Okay, without.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can consider them ahraf neutral.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
All right. So 5 copies were made and they
Yeah.
were disseminated out.
Right.
From those, other copies were made and disseminated out.
Right.
Yeah. It went all the way to China.
Right.
And all the way to Morocco.
Yeah.
It wasn't called China and Morocco at the
Yeah,
time.
no problem.
Okay.
No
So
problem.
you get somebody from China and somebody from Morocco, and they're reciting the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it is an oral tradition. Yeah. Now to demonstrate that, right? Half of the Quran.
Not all of it, no.
Some of it, yeah? Okay, you'll know this. Here's the surah. Yeah? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح.
ورأيت الناس
Let him recite. He's
let me
that's
finish.
fine.
Let me finish.
I don't understand what he's saying, so if he joins in, it doesn't-
ورأيت الذين.
Right.
There you go. I made a mistake. I made a deliberate
I
mistake, and he
corrected
corrected
Right.
me. Yeah.
But-
I don't know him. He doesn't
But
know
we go,
me.
yeah, but the problem with
Yeah?
that we've already addressed, because you're reciting the halves, he's reciting the halves. So he knows. That's why we started this with the Quran
You know,
one.
you know
because
the
we
difference.
can't go back
hold
in
on,
time,
hold on.
Right.
then
You
we
know the
can't
difference between
verify
Hafs
that.
and Warsh, yeah?
Yes.
It's so minimal.
But here,
It's so minimal
how?
that it's like 0.0000.
but here's, I know what. But here's his biggest
difference.
But here's his biggest problem. That is actually the biggest problem. Why? Now, if I go to America, American have a different dialect from English. For example, if we look at the word organization, in Europe we use, or in England we use an S. In
America they use a Z.
Yeah, fine.
yeah, actually I'll give you an easy one.
No, that's easy enough, go ahead.
No, in England,
same word.
we use trousers. In America they use pants.
Right.
Now, what we wouldn't expect, and which is what we find in the Quran, which is an anomaly, is that if we had an American book, we would find every single instance where they're supposed to use they would use pants.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have
English,
pants.
what's the problem?
Wait, let me
In
finish.
English
Wait,
or
let me finish. In America, like if we had America, let's say let's say we had. Let me finish. Then we have Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's written in American. No, but listen. Just listen to my point, and you will understand it.
Comparing J.K. Rowling with
Wait,
I'm just objecting to Harry Potter.
Okay, let's say we've got James Bond.
Okay.
No, keep your pants and trousers. Simple
Yeah.
as that, yeah.
So,
okay.
and every time in James
Okay.
Bond in the English version,
Yeah.
they use trousers.
Okay.
For the American dialect, they have to use pants because they
Okay,
won't
fine.
understand trousers.
So what's the problem with
So
that?
therefore, we would expect every time in the English and the American one, it's 100% use
Pants or trousers?
pants. No, they can't use trousers.
yeah, pants,
What we find when Muslims say with the Quran it's dialect, we find jumbled up dialects. So what we would find is that page 1 they say pants, page 2 they say trousers. Now this would be inconsistent with a dialect.
No, it's different.
Now,
Listen,
wait,
There's one reading.
wait. Let me finish.
That doesn't
Let me
happen,
finish.
and I think you know that
Let me
doesn't
finish. Let me finish. There's a scholar called.
Okay, fine.
I'll make my last point, and I write this name down. Haitham Sidki. He's a Sidki. He has done the research on the dialects, and it's his research.
Done the research on what?
Where the origin of the dialects, where they came from. So he's looked at, for example, each dialect is supposed to be for a different region, Yemen, Iraq, whatnot. What he's done, he's studied the text, and he's shown that actually within the text there is jumbled up dialects that shows that they borrowed from elsewhere, meaning they are not strictly.
Who borrowed from elsewhere?
So okay, if you have a
they?
Yemeni text, a Yemen dialect,
Yeah.
it should all be.
You're presuming that this was handwritten.
Exactly.
You're presuming it's coming from people.
No, but listen to what I'm saying.
This is
Wait.
your problem.
Let me just make my point. Regardless, because if, for example, in Yemen,
This is the intellectual conversation I was looking for earlier.
no, but
I
listen.
know, he's a sincere guy though, but you
No,
need
but
to-
listen.
you need
No,
to-
but listen to what I'm saying. So Yemen was one of the places where there was a Quran sent to.
Okay.
Basra was another one.
Okay, fine.
So if we go to Basra, the Quran, even the recitation today, so if I go to someone, for argument's sake, to Basra, they should be using strictly Basra dialect if they memorize the Basra one.
Why?
Because if it's a dialect, the whole text has to be according to that dialect.
Why?
Because that was the. So I'm saying, listen to what I'm saying.
It is permissible
Wait.
to have a mix of ahruf in the same.
Because the whole point of it.
Can I just use your example? Brother's saying, some of them go to your James Bond book again.
Right.
Some version of it says all in trousers.
Yes.
Some version always says pants.
Right.
Some will say trousers, pants, trousers, pants, trousers.
Right.
There's no issue.
What is
It's
the
different
point?
readings.
But what is the point
None
of
those
the
words
dialect?
go
What was
against
the
each
point
other.
of the dialect?
What do you mean? What's the point of the dialect? There's
Right.
as had to be.
No, but listen.
If I ask you
this
a question,
question,
you
okay,
understand
yeah,
what he's
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're bringing this in now because we've explained now, right?
Right.
Some of the dialects change the words. It doesn't. These meanings don't go against each other, but they complement each other, and that's
Right.
another beauty of the Quran. There's no contradictions.
It's
They have different meanings. It's a
and how
wisdom.
much wisdom you can get out of
It's
the
a-
Quran.
you're trying to pick apart, but it's
People
a
have
testament.
spent lifetimes and they'll never say I've finished all the wisdom in the Quran, because every time you read it, something else comes out.
No problem
From
with
the
that.
same
Right there, I
reading,
think I have to go.
All right,
Keep studying.
nice.
You do so much studying. Go and study about the truth of Islam.
But
May Allah guide you, brother.
next time you're here, we'll talk
May Allah
about.
guide you.
No, but
we believe in Jesus more than you,
but
brother.
next time we're here, we'll have a discussion.
All
How
right,
do you know
inshallah,
Muhammad's a prophet? Because that is the crux of it, isn't it?
May Allah guide you.
But yeah, nice conversation. But all I'm going to say though, just Google Haytham Siddiqui
I'm gonna check him out.
and look at his research.
Will do.
Yeah, yeah.
Haytham Siddiqui is not
But
the authority. There are others. Yeah.
What?
Dr. Ali Attai.
That guy's a fraud. I'll speak to you about him why he's a fraud. But essential, that was a very long conversation, pleasant. But essentially, what I was trying to bring out of that conversation is the confusion or the misunderstanding of what Islamic text teaches, because everyone has this understanding of perfect preservation of the Quran. When you ask them to define it, they don't actually know. When you actually look within Islamic literature, the scholars all disagreed. If you go to Al-Qurtubi, he said there was about over 50 different interpretations about what the Qira'at and the Aruf is. It somehow come into the text and no one knows how, but for Islamic polemics or theology reasons, they've had to make a reason as to why there's so many different variations, which caused disagreements within the early Sahaba. So essentially, the point was to deconstruct this argument of the perfect preservation of the Quran, which doesn't actually exist, and no one can actually define it. And this is why we had Yasser Qadr say there are holes in the standard narrative. But this is the lie that's been pushed out and peddled to many layman Muslims who don't even know what's in with their own Islamic sources. So they cannot even admit to this. So there's a lot of jumbled up excuses, and that's why I say to anyone, go and Google the Cairo edition of the Quran, 1925-24 that is the standardized version that people use around the world. So when a Muslim says, if I go to China and they recite the same thing, all they're all doing is reciting the Cairo edition of the Hafs Quran. That is it, but they think that was the perfect preservation, which it isn't. So once we debunk that argument, then we can move to other points. So they struggle to deal with that, but they weren't aware of what's in the Islamic text was. I am. And that's why we have to look at these lies that have been peddled to lay Muslims. And once they realize this, they'll realize they've been lied to. And on that note, Paperboy out. I think that's